Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield back.
Thank you very much. The chair now recognizes Mr. Tiffany from Wisconsin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Soleil, I believe you commented that you want to see things justly sourced. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And would that include wind and solar, like solar arrays, wind turbines? You expect those to be justly sourced?
Yes.
So materials that we're seeing for some of those items, like wind turbines, solar panels, are coming from like communist China, using child labor in the Congo. Do you believe that's justly sourced?
No, sir.
Would you, so if in the United States of America, we can produce those minerals and not use child labor, that we can do it in a way that is justly sourced, do you believe we should produce those minerals here in America rather than those countries that don't?
Yes, I think we should.
Okay, because the chairman of this subcommittee has an abundance of it that we could produce right here in America to be able to produce those wind and solar panels. Mr. Menarvik, did I hear you take no subsidies?
Yeah, that's correct.
No subsidies.
That's correct.
The statement was made that safe and sound until production goes down. Does your company live by that ethic?
No, sir, absolutely not. And the regulators should take care of companies that aren't performing properly. I agree with Mr. Slay. And our company has operated at the highest standards for 24 years, both environmentally and from a safety perspective. And the regulators should get rid of companies like that.
Mr. Danos, I take it you work for companies, including some of the big companies, whatever. Have you ever worked for a company, or has your company lived by the ethos of safe and sound until production goes down?
No, sir. We spend a lot of time, effort, energy in protecting our people. Last year, our total recordable incident rate was 0.13. We're really proud of that record of protecting our people, and we have seen that continue to go down over the years. And it's been in partnership, really, with companies like Mr. Menarvik's, as well as major oil and gas companies, that we've learned from each other and invested in safety and keeping our people safe.
Mr. Chasson, based on the opening remarks that we heard from the ranking member, it sounds like Louisiana is going to pieces. Is that the case in Lafourche Parish?
No, sir. We have a very robust economy. We have managed to carry about $100 million budget for 100,000 residents for almost the past 20 years. We work day in and day out with companies like Danos, who are homegrown companies, right? Mr. Danos grew up in Lafourche Parish, and his family still lives there. We work with these companies day in and day out and have taxed ourselves over and over again to protect ourselves from things like hurricanes. And we work with the industry to help rebuild millions of acres of our coastal wetlands every day.
Is the quality of life going down in your parish or neighboring parishes also? Is it going down?
No, we like to coin ourselves as the parish people like to live, work, and play.
Mr. Danos, I heard that, am I hearing correctly from you that there are fewer permits that are being offered at this point, that the NEPA process is not being instituted, or it's not being implemented on a number of these projects? Is that correct?
There's been significant delays in an extension of the time that it takes to get the NEPA permitting done, and that's a big concern when it comes to the 5-year leasing, because we've got to get the plan, the 5-year plan that we don't have in place. Then we have to go through the NEPA process. So we're looking again at extending that gap of time period where we aren't having lease sales.
You know, if you look at the memo that we received here today, Mr. Chairman, Secretary Holland said in answer to Chairman Joe Manchin of the Senate Energy Committee, yes, Chairman, of course we're going to comply with the IRA as written. The IRA said that we are going to do both wind and solar as well as oil and gas. I hope this isn't a case, I was in Judiciary Committee yesterday with Secretary Mayorkas. I hope this isn't a case of another cabinet secretary who at a minimum is misleading, perhaps lying to the American people. It's getting pretty frustrating to watch this administration operate at this point when they won't tell us in Congress or the American people the truth. I'm going to close by saying this. People are purporting to do the green fantasy here. We had people that told us global cooling is going to end the world in 1975. The eminent scientist Paul Ehrlich said that millions of people are going to die by the year 2000. Now we hear it's global warming is going to be the end of the earth. It's time to put to rest this green fantasy stuff and allow the American people to lead a life of prosperity. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Tiffany. The chair now recognizes Mr. Magaziner for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, in my home state of Rhode Island, we are on the front lines of climate change. We know it's real.